Good afternoon, everybody. On this Thursday, December 11th, 2025, got all of your stories for your rush hour ride home here in my mobile studio setup in Brooklyn, New York. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. It's going to center around a Rolling Stone article that is linking Blake Lively to Taylor Swift, even though they'll never, ever get back together. This being Taylor Swift and Blake Lively's friendship seems to be over after Blake Lively tried to leverage Taylor Swift as one of her dragons, a Game of Thrones reference. She was Khaleesi, claiming Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift were her dragons that would sort of help her get what she wants. Well, now this article that's come out in Rolling Stone claims that the same bots that were used to make accusations against Taylor Swift were also used with Blake Lively. Is there any truth to the story? I don't see any evidence of that, but it's very interesting to share, the idea of grass, or I should say of astroturfing as it goes down. So let's dive into this. Here it is, exclusive from Rolling Stone. Taylor Swift's last album sparked bizarre accusations. It was a coordinated attack. Data analysts of social media posts painting the singer as a Trump supporter or white supremacist revealed a network of inauthentic accounts. And whenever I see astroturfing, I like to call it out. I like to educate my audience on it because astroturfing, again, is the opposite of a grassroots movement. It's fake grass. It's fake bots. It's, this idea that, people online can think a certain way if fake people push them in a direction. I think it's wrong. I actually interviewed David Clayton. He's running as an independent in North Carolina for the House of Representatives. I interviewed him a few days ago, if you haven't checked that out. And he wants to ban basically accounts of people that don't have verified identity. And I'm actually kind of all for it. I hate that you can literally raise hell with 12 fake accounts and make it seem like people support an issue that they might not, right? Well, in this case, Blake Lively is thrown into this Rolling Stone article. Now, is there any credibility to this report that went down? I'm going to read a little bit from it, and so far, not really, because there's no evidence, right? It's just a report of their findings. It doesn't really show any of how the sausage was made, which makes you kind of skeptical because, again, these companies release these reports either because they were paid to do so or because they're promoting their business so that people will pay them to do so. Here was the part of the Rolling Stone article that mentioned Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. So while Presley and his team don't know the identity of the individual or group behind this attack, the one on Taylor Swift, they did discover a significant user overlap between accounts pushing the Swift narrative and those active in a separate AstroTurf campaign attacking Blake Lively. The actress has claimed in an ongoing harassment lawsuit that actor and director Justin Baldoni organized a chorus of smears against her on social media as the two waged a bitter legal and PR war over the troubled production of their 2024 film It Ends With Us. Their data, Gudia, which is the company that unearthed this, researchers wrote in their report, reveals a cross-event amplification network, one that disproportionately influences multiple celebrity-driven controversies and injects misinformation into otherwise organic conversations. You could also make the claim, I believe, that bots that do exist that are harvesting information and trying to find traffic would surf the wave that is Blake Lively's trial, that would surf the wave which is Taylor Swift's album release. You understand? If you were going to be looking into these two events, I would look into other pop culture events and seeing if these quote-unquote bots were part of those smears or surfing other waves. And I say surfing a wave because if you're a bot, the reason they exist is to harvest accounts. They are there to either push a specific agenda or, as was proven with the Russia disinformation campaign, they just wanted to rip apart our democracy. And guess what, Russia? You nailed it. You did a good job. We are in shambles over here. So the idea being that they wanted to use an AstroTurf campaign to make it seem like there was more fighting than actually existed, which would lead to fighting, kind of like a spark that ignites a wildfire. So I don't understand. I do believe that these AstroTurf campaigns do exist. The question that becomes is, Did Baldoni have anything to do with it? Which, again, the answer to that is absolutely not. Ridiculous to think anyone would spend any of their hard-earned money creating bots that can be used to go after people, right? I mean, that's just insane. Well, let's go to our well-respected legal analyst, not actually Golden, who, by the way, I have had a pleasant chat with her through, I believe, TikTok DMs. And hopefully we'll get her on the channel sometime in 2026. I predict big things for Not Actually Golden, but here she is kind of, asking the same questions I'm asking, which is, what's the motivation behind this? Have a listen.
This goes further, and what this group found was that a lot of these inauthentic accounts that were starting conversations about Taylor Swift being a Yahtzee were the same or were tied to accounts that they say are connected to an AstroTurf campaign attacking Blake Lively. Now, there's two things missing from this. I guess I could pull up the white paper and read it if they're going to publish it. One is they don't say when. Are these the same accounts that are talking shit about Blake Lively now? Or are these accounts that were talking shit about Blake Lively in fall of 2024? So they don't really say what the time frames are. I'm interested in that. Gudea to say this was an astroturfing campaign also puts an asterisk next to it for me of like, why have they come to that conclusion? Who told them that? So it's interesting because I could see how this could be both great for Blake Lively and terrible, right? It could be great for her because it shows that this kind of shit absolutely does happen. Right? Like, and the person here says in the report, this reveals a cross-amplification network, one that disproportionately influences celebrity-driven controversies, right? So there's this proof of like, there is this conspiracy out there, right? So that could be great for, and look, it was happening to Taylor and she's a friend of mine and blah, blah, blah. And they've done this research that they can now connect back to Blake. What's bad about it is that it shows that it happens all the time.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, that this happens all the time. And again, same questions I'm asking, Not Actually Golden is asking, which is are these campaigns happening because they're famous? These aren't random people. Like Blake Lively is not some banker who had a smear campaign against her. Now, if you're Blake Lively, you can use this to say, look, see, a campaign did exist. These bots are real. And for those that are going to, kind of be latching on to any evidence that you might be on the right side, that's all they need. That's all they need to go, look, see, there's a smear campaign. Baldoni's side says it was untraceable, so we're never going to find out who it was. I just think it's BS. And we haven't seen any real information, but we'll cover actually what was said in this white page. But we haven't seen any information that really tells us the evidence of why they came to their conclusion.
What if we find out these are their experts? What if we find out that Gudea is the expert that Lively's people have hired? We don't know that. I don't think expert disclosures ever got filed. I think they were just served. So there's a lot of missing information. But it certainly is like my mind is just racing with questions about what all of this means.
Yeah, and if you have one of these bot farms, or if you're kind of sowing disinformation or doubt online, are maybe these same bots are commenting on political things. So I think they should expand and open up the aperture here to see what actually is being covered by this by these this report, like which bots could it's look at it this way. It's like when you point the telescope into the sky, you can only see a very specific set of stars. You have to know what you're looking at to find any information. They knew they were looking at Blake Lively because they checked her out after checking Taylor Swift. Well, check out a whole bunch of other things and get back to me, because it's my belief. And, if you're a Blake Lively sort of apologist, maybe you think I'm kind of crazy in the way I'm covering this, thinking, oh, you'll do or say anything to be apologetic to Baldoni's side. But again, it's just not proving much. All right, let's take a quick break. We got sponsors. I got to pay some bills. When I come back, I'm going to share a little bit of the summary from this investigative report. Ever had that last pair of contacts panic? Now I don't even worry about it because my next set is always on the way from 1-800-CONTACTS. They're the only major contact lens retailer that lets me renew my prescription online so I can get my contacts fast. 1-800-CONTACTS has fast, free shipping and delivers the same contacts my doctor prescribes right to my door. It's totally no risk with free returns and exchanges, plus they offer a best price guarantee. I order online, they deliver for free, and I can even renew my prescription from home. It's simple, reliable, and it saves me a ton of time and frustration. If you hate running out of contacts or having to make an eye doctor appointment every time you're running low, 1-800-CONTACTS is the best solution. They will save you time and money. Getting contacts doesn't have to be a hassle. Let 1-800-CONTACTS get you the contact lenses you need right now. Order online at 1-800-CONTACTS.com or download the free 1-800-CONTACTS app today. You don't have to let big wireless and your overpriced phone bill suck the joy out of the holidays this year, because right now all of Mint Mobile's unlimited plans are 50% off. You can get 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. It's their best deal of the year and makes it real easy for you to give your expensive wireless bill the Scrooge treatment. All Mint plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. I use Mint and you should too. No contracts, no nonsense. Turn your expensive wireless presence into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/TRH. That's mintmobile.com/TRH. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Over 35 gigabytes, may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Well, here it is. Gudea executive summary. Between October 4th and October 18th, 2025, public conversations surrounding Taylor Swift and her album, The Life of a Showgirl, evolved into a highly complex narrative ecosystem. Gudea analyzed 24,000 posts from 18,000 users across 14 platforms, identifying a polarized online environment shaped by a mixture of organic cultural discourse, symbolic reinterpretation, and targeted inauthentic activity. A key finding of this analysis is the role inauthentic narratives played in triggering authentic engagement. And that's the big idea, right, with astroturfing, is that an inauthentic narrative can be like even just like sparking a conspiracy, then having a dozen fake accounts discuss that conspiracy can be enough to elevate a conspiracy on Reddit and other platforms to the point that it's then shared by other accounts and can kind of, make a fire out of nothing. So the key finding of the analysis is the role inauthentic narratives played in triggering authentic engagement. False narrative that Taylor Swift was using, I guess they're calling it Yahtzee symbolism. It's the N word, but, can't say it online without getting demonetized, did not remain confined to fringe conspiratorial spaces. It successfully pulled typical users into comparisons between Swift and Kanye West, demonstrates how a strategically seeded falsehood can convert into widespread authentic discourse, reshaping public perception even when most users do not believe the originating claim. I don't know. When I remember Taylor Swift's album launch, I don't remember any of this. I do remember, they were looking for symbolism, but it's no surprise they were looking for symbolism with Taylor Swift because she, as she always inserts Easter eggs into her work. But the idea that they had some sort of like greater, I don't know, that she was like pulling a fast one on people, was a closeted Trump supporter or, closeted, whatever. I mean, it's ridiculous. So they go into the key findings. A significant insight from the data set is that the inauthentic Taylor Swift is a Nazi narrative acted as a catalyst for a secondary authentic conversation comparing Swift to Kanye West. Typical users who were not engaging with conspiracy content nevertheless enter the conversation in response to the fallout created by inauthentic users. All right. So their claims are that the fake bots said crazy stuff. And this is what I hate about the internet, right? Is that they're not wrong. A lot of times, and I see this with my commentary, some people will say crazy things and then people that are reasonable will come to defense of reason. And it then, of course, gets traffic and then that gets boosted. And, this like falsehood does get seeded. But I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So then they get into these percentages, overlap overview. Blake Lively dataset 107,000 users. Taylor Swift dataset 18,000 users. Overlap 2,395 users. So are they claiming that over 2,000 users that were used in Blake Lively also were used in Taylor Swift? Gudea identified 2,400 essentially overlapping accounts active in both the Taylor Swift dataset and the Blake Lively AstroTurf dataset. Again, no surprise, they were good friends, and they are both famous. The asymmetry is essential. Swift's audience is smaller, so the overlap represents a much larger percentage of her total ecosystem. This suggests a concentrated group of repeat actors more directly influenced Swift's narrative. The overlap is overwhelmingly typical, indicating that normal users engage with both narratives, suggesting broad cultural interest rather than just conspiracy adoption. The presence of a small set of outliers, facilitators, and influencers active across both datasets suggests shared amplification pathways and a potential recurring network of accounts capable of escalating or ideologically reframing celebrity narratives. It sounds like a stretch. Do you understand these words? Potential recurring network. Okay, well, can you go specific and show the names of the accounts that were messing with Blake Lively and that were also messing with Taylor Swift? And can you find out what other subjects those accounts covered? You know what I mean? Because it could be a whole bunch of just, yeah, it's like, all right, you found a bot farm. Were they also going after, Meghan Markle? You know what I mean? Like, I bet there's a Meghan Markle overlap. Why do I use her as an example? Because they go after her. She's famous. She's just in that group of people that generate a lot of commentary. I don't know. So they talk about the different, they get into a whole bunch of things here, and I don't know. So it's there's already been people picking this apart, kind of saying, what the hell are they doing here? The amount of accounts that overlap with Taylor Swift and Blake Lively is misleading in their report. Based on their numbers, the overlap is only less than 2%. How can they draw any valid conclusion? There's no control group since they didn't look at other celebs who have faced recent backlash. Sydney Sweeney was literally right there. No proof that the accounts were coordinated, no definitions, no methodology. I hate that. I hate that this first Reddit comment I see is way more reasonable than anything we're seeing from Rolling Stones. Do you know what I mean? Rolling Stones is getting out researched by this commenter saying, where's the control group? Where's the control group that analyzes other people? Like, we don't have any, 3 dimensions to triangulate this. That's what you have to do when you're going to make pretty crazy accusations. So we'll understand more about this Rolling Stones article in the coming weeks. Like, will this information be something that is used by Blake Lively, or is it too late? They've gotten in, I guess we'll have to find out if the people behind this, this paper that was made, this investigative paper on the astroturfing, were they hired by Blake Lively? Again, as Not Actually Golden said, I don't know if we know for sure whether or not that is in their, in their arsenal of content. So the person goes, that's even worse. The more you look at it, the worse it gets. Blake literally bought hundreds of Instagram bot followers today. All of her followers have the same profile pic of a brunette girl with glasses. There's at least 50 accounts right now of bots who all have the same profile pic. The only inauthentic user I see is this company. So trolls cause engagement and they troll more than one celebrity. That's their groundbreaking take. What am I missing here? Yeah. All right. So again, we'll have to see who paid for this. And I forgot to add, they say they only examined activities during October 4th to the 18th, but somehow this makes them experts on what happened in August of 2024. So yeah, this is why the internet exists, because you got to sift through this stuff to try to, call out what, initially seems like a, it's they've got the good fonts and it looks like professional, so they use numbers, but when you really stress test it with some critical thinking, you go, this is all bullshit, right? This is the numbers are used to convince people of anything. And again, we'll have to see some more links than this, but I assure you the Blake Lively fans will use this as proof that these campaigns of smearing did exist. Well, speaking of campaigns of smearing, how about about this story? We've been following in the conservative media landscape. We have conservative pundit Tim Pool. They call him Beanie Shapiro. I don't know who said that, but it made me laugh. It's like Ben Shapiro, but with the beanie. Claims shots were fired at his property, and cops have not been able to substantiate this story. Why is this interesting? Well, he's been one of the few sort of vocal people against Candace Owens. We covered Candace this morning. She's been called out by Erica Kirk for the hundreds of thousands of dollars she's making in the conspiracy over who shot and killed Charlie Kirk. Well, Tim Pool has had shots, or I guess now for the second time, claims there's been gunshots outside of his property. Well, I guess the police force doesn't have a response. On Saturday, he wrote that a vehicle approached his house the previous evening, opening fire. He adds no one was injured in the alleged shooting. And of course, Candace Owens called it out, saying there must be footage of this, right? Like, did you file a police report? Which is also the accusation that was made to Candace when she had her claims that there was an assassination hiring up by the French government to her. Listen, the conservative world's a little crazy right now. I got to tell you, they're all fighting. There's, assassin conspiracies. It's Egyptian planes. It's pretty wild if you haven't been keeping up with this coverage. So, either way, they reached out to authorities. The Berkeley County Sheriff's Office says a man who identified himself as a security guard for Pool reported shots fired at the house after seeing a gray sedan circle the property multiple times during the day. Authorities went to the house and cleared the call. Later on, officers say they asked Pool for video footage from the property, but they say they've been denied. As a result, the reports of shots fired at this residence cannot be substantiated at this time. Reaching out to Pool, he says, "We were advised not to release the footage as it will compromise security, exposing property, personnel, and our security measures." It's a pretty good, reason for why not. Although you think that they could share, just frames of the car going by, like they don't have to give up their whole, defensive plan. So people on social media are raking Pool over the coals because of this incident, claiming the dude made it up for clout. He insists it did happen, and obviously we know his team reported the incident. So again, he did report it to authorities. He just didn't want to share the security footage. All right, that's something. All right, well, let's go to a happy story. We've got a happy update from our Single Mom's Christmas wish list. If you don't know, you should, but we've got the Single Mom's Christmas wish list. We have a dozen or so, maybe 15 or 16 moms that have Amazon wish lists, and we are here trying to champion them so that folks can give them a donation and make Christmas a happy time in an otherwise stressful situation. Lots of single moms in some cases lost their husband or going through a divorce or, different circumstances. And the best thing that we can do is to really just show them some humanity and, buy them a $5, $10 gift, gets sent right to, their house. And here we have an update from Harley, one of our single moms. Here's what she had to say. "I never expected to be in this position. I fought tooth and nail to not be in poverty, but between the state of our economy and one of my children having autism, it's where I am. I never let them feel the weight of poverty. It's not their burden to carry, but it's always there on my shoulders like a backpack of bricks. We live on just enough gas to get them to school and myself to food pantries, just enough food to feed them 3 meals a day, just enough to keep the water and lights on, just enough for medical necessities for my kids. Now, thanks to Santa Dave and the person who bought from our wish list, my kids now have more than just enough. My kids have brand new shoes to wear to school after winter break and a doctor's toy set to share because they both love to play doctor. I'm forever grateful and excited to be my kids' sick patient. Thank you to everyone who also watches Dave. It's a well-deserved platform, and you guys made this possible. Lots of love, Harley." I wrote this out and give full permission if Dave would like to read it on camera, and we certainly will. And here is a photo of the doctor kit and shoes that somebody got Harley, one of our moms. Now, if you haven't already, I'm urging you, if you have the funds, if you have $5, $8, $12, if you have more and want to wipe out everyone's Christmas list, I'm urging you guys. I got the ball rolling with Denise, she's our philanthropy chair who puts all of the lists together, and she's a foster mom, and we helped her. In our community, we started the funds by giving her $800 to help with all of the, aspects of being a foster mom and making Christmas a great time. And there's so many more people in our community that need help. And I'm urging you guys, there's still a lot of time before Christmas. If you want to just go to the link that we have in the description, click that link. There's all of the different Amazon wish lists. You can pick one of the moms, maybe someone's whose story, means something to you, or from nearby, or just want to roll the dice on a random mom. These are real gifts that go really to them, and they can use all of our help. So I appreciate in advance those that continue to donate. You guys are the best. How about this? Let's end on this batshit crazy story. Waymo cars. I've been covering a lot of Waymo stories. They got caught in a crossfires of a police shootout. And now there was another story where a mom gave birth in a Waymo. Do you have to pay the cleaning fee? And now Waymo cars are in a traffic jam standoff caused in San Francisco.
A video from Saturday captured 3 Waymo self-driving cars frozen in an apparent standoff on a residential street in San Francisco. Waymo has said it is issuing a voluntary software recall on its self-driving vehicles after a series of close call incidents, including an illegal maneuver of passing a stopped school bus.
All right, so yeah, they're speeding by school buses. They're giving birth in them. They're going through police shoot-offs. They're having, a road rage with each other, and yet somehow they probably drive better than the people that live in Tennessee. All right, that's it for me. Not just Tennessee. A lot of people suck at driving, but that's it for us. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.